Breathe slowly and imagine yourself suspended in a darkness that has no beginning. Before there were stars, before there was even light, the universe was only a quiet ocean of invisible matter. It drifted without shape, patient and waiting. From that stillness, ripples of gravity began to pull at the fabric of space. Tiny fluctuations, almost imperceptible, became the seeds of everything that would ever be. Out of those ripples, the great gathering of our home, began the long birth of the Milky Way. About 13.5 billion years ago, when the universe itself was still young and warm, countless small clouds of hydrogen and helium began collapsing under their own gravity. Each became a small galaxy glowing faintly in the cosmic dawn. They swirled and collided, merging again and again. These were the ancestors of our home. Imagine their soft collisions, not as violence, but as rivers of light folding together. Over time, those rivers joined to form a single, larger current one that would become the spiral we live within today. Astronomers believe the Milky Way's oldest stars were born in that first billion-year stretch deep in its halo. The vast spherical region surrounding the galaxy's flat disk. Those stars, ancient and metal-poor, still drift far above and below the plane of our modern spiral, shining as quiet witnesses to the galaxy's earliest days. When we study them, we see chemistry written in time traces of the universe before heavy elements existed. They are fossils of light, carrying memories older than the Earth itself. Meanwhile, within the young galaxy, gravity continued its patient sculpting. Streams of smaller galaxies, the cosmic building blocks, spiraled inward, drawn to the growing gravitational well. The Milky Way consumed them not with hunger, but with inevitability, folding their stars into its structure like threads into a tapestry. One of those known today as the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy is still being drawn apart by our galaxy's pull. If we could see it clearly, it would resemble a glowing ribbon wrapped around the Milky Way's waist, a delicate reminder that creation is not a single event, but an ongoing act. Even now, in this quiet corner of cosmic time, the Milky Way is still assembling itself. It continues to draw in cold hydrogen gas from its surroundings, fueling the birth of new stars. In the great spiral arms, those luminous lanes that wind outward from the center, star-forming regions shimmer like distant embers. They are places where gravity has condensed gas and dust so tightly that nuclear fusion can begin again. If the galaxy were alive, these would be its heartbeat, steady, constant, and radiant. Scientists have mapped this grand structure, not from above, but from within. Because we live inside one of its arms, the Milky Way's true shape has been a mystery for centuries. Through careful observation, radio waves, infrared light, and the patient cataloging of star positions, we've come to know its form. Our galaxy is a barred spiral, its central bar of stars, acting like a bridge of light that stretches across the core. From the ends of this bar, the spiral arms curve outward each, a gentle wave of density, where stars are born and reborn. If we could step outside and look back, we would see a galaxy stretching about 100,000 light-years across roughly 600 trillion miles, a disk of stars so vast that it would take the fastest spacecraft over 2 million centuries to cross. And yet, even with all its size, the Milky Way is a delicate structure. Its spiral arms, only a few thousand light-years thick, rippled and warped, like a ribbon of silk, caught in motion. The forces that shaped it are invisible. Beneath the shining stars lies a hidden skeleton made of dark matter, a mysterious substance that neither emits nor reflects light. Though unseen, it makes up most of the galaxy's mass, holding it together through gravity. Without that unseen framework, the stars would scatter into the void. Scientists describe it not as something sinister, but as an elegant solution to a cosmic mystery. It is gravity's shadow, the quiet architecture of everything we see. There is beauty in the balance of it all. Light tracing the edges of darkness, motion held by what cannot be seen. Every orbit, every rotation is a harmony of forces. The Milky Way's stars circle its center at astonishing speeds. Our own sun drifts at about 137 miles per second, yet the vastness makes that speed feel like stillness. It takes roughly 230 million years for the sun to make a single journey around the galactic core. In the 4.5 billion years since Earth formed, our solar system has completed only about 20 such orbits, 20 long seasons in a cosmic year. Think of that. All of human history, all the rise and fall of civilizations has happened within a single flicker of our path through the galaxy. We are traveling through a river of stars, so wide and so old that motion itself becomes meditation. Every sunrise you see is part of this slow drift, our world moving silently through a current of light bound by gravity's invisible hand. Beyond the present moment, the Milky Way story stretches forward into the deep future. 4 billion years from now, it will meet another great traveler, the Andromeda Galaxy. Their paths, drawn together by mutual gravity, will intersect in a slow, luminous embrace. From Earth, that dance will unfold. Over millions of years, two spirals merging their stars, weaving into a new form. There will be no crash, no destruction, only transformation. Two rivers of light becoming one greater stream. Astronomers already call this future union Milkomeda, a poetic name for the galaxy that will one day be our home's descendant. In the farthest reaches of space, this is how galaxies grow, not through conquest, but through continuity. Each merger brings new stars, new dust, new possibility. Even collisions are creative here. Out of motion comes order, out of gravity comes grace. And though we may never witness that distant union, we are part of its unfolding story. The atoms in our bodies, the starlight that reaches our eyes, all belong to this same flowing pattern. The more scientists study the Milky Way, the more they discover that it is still forming not a finished creation, but a living system shaped by its environment. Streams of gas from intergalactic space continue to fall inward, feeding the galaxy's slow evolution. Around it, satellite galaxies like the Magellanic Clouds orbit and interact, tugging faint waves across the outer disk. Each motion leaves a trace, each encounter a memory. The Milky Way is not static, but breathing, exhaling light into the dark. Pause and let that thought settle. We live inside something alive with motion. Every point of starlight you see tonight is part of that immense choreography. It moves with purpose, yet without rush. Gravity's music, played across the fabric of time. The story of the Milky Way is the story of persistence. 13 billion years of gathering and renewal of stars being born, dying, and returning to the same great current. The galaxy grows not in sudden bursts, but in waves, each cycle building on the last. Somewhere in that pattern lies the origin of everything we know, including ourselves. And so, as you rest beneath the same stars that once formed from that first ancient gas, remember, you are made of this history. Every heartbeat echoes the pulse of the galaxy. Every breath carries atoms that once drifted in its arms. Our home was not built in a moment, but in endless, quiet motion, shaped by time, guided by gravity, and illuminated by the patient work of light. Beyond the silence of night, our galaxy still turns, still forms, still breathes. Somewhere in its vast disk, new suns ignite, even now their light destined to join the river we call home. And as the universe settles once more into quiet balance, may your thoughts drift gently among the stars. Imagine yourself floating above the great spiral of our galaxy, a luminous whirlpool of stars turning through the velvet dark. From this vantage, the Milky Way seems motionless, serene. But beneath that quiet illusion, everything moves. Every star, every cloud of dust, even the invisible halo of dark matter, all drift in a slow, unending dance. Our own sun joins this cosmic choreography, tracing a wide circle around the galactic center. It travels at roughly 137 miles per second, fast enough to circle Earth in less than 5 minutes. Yet within the galaxy, that speed feels gentle, almost unnoticeable. The distance it must cover is too vast for human intuition, about 25,000 light-years, from the core completing one full orbit every 230 million years. This means that since the dawn of Earth, the Sun has circled the Milky Way only about 20 times. Pause and feel the scale of that number. Each orbit is longer than the age of mammals, longer than the rise and fall of mountains. The continents have shifted, climates have changed, and life has evolved, all while the solar system has drifted only a fraction of the way around the galaxy's center. We live our entire lives in one cosmic heartbeat, part of a motion so vast it feels like stillness. Yet this movement is not aimless. It is a graceful balance of gravity and inertia, the same forces that hold the moon to Earth and the planets to the Sunday. In the Milky Way, billions of such orbits interlock, forming a quiet harmony. Stars nearer the center move more swiftly. Those farther out take slower, longer paths. The result is a spiral not because the stars are locked in a fixed shape, but because their collective motion creates waves of density regions where stars and gas temporarily gather before flowing onward. These spiral arms are not rigid structures. They are moving patterns, more like the crest of a wave than a solid bridge. Stars drift in and out of them, much as leaves swirl through the eddies of a river. When a cloud of gas enters one of these arms, it compresses slightly under gravity, triggering the birth of new stars. Then, as those stars ignite their light, traces the spiral pattern anew. In this way, the Milky Way paints itself continuously, a living, breathing artwork written in motion. Scientists have come to understand this dance through careful measurement and observation. With powerful telescopes and instruments like the Gaia spacecraft, astronomers have mapped the positions and velocities of more than 1 billion stars. The data reveals that the galaxy is not flat as we once imagined, but rippled its disk, gently bending upward and downward like a vast sheet caught in a soft wind. This warp is thought to arise from the gravitational tug of nearby dwarf galaxies or the pull of dark matter beyond our sight. Every motion in space leaves a signature. The Sun, for instance, moves not in a perfect circle, but in a slow oscillation, weaving slightly above and below the galactic plane, like a buoy rising and falling on invisible tides. It crosses that central plane about every 30 million years, carrying the planets along with it. For life on Earth, this journey is too slow to feel. But over deep time, it may subtly shape our cosmic environment, influencing how often we encounter dense clouds or streams of interstellar dust. The Milky Way's rotation, though majestic, conceals a mystery. According to the visible mass, the stars, gas, and dust, we can see the outer regions should move more slowly than they do. But observations show otherwise. Stars at the galaxy's edge travel nearly as fast as those near the center. This discrepancy led scientists to propose the existence of dark matter, the invisible scaffolding that holds galaxies together. Though we cannot see it, we can sense its presence through motion. The galaxy's stability is its silent testimony. From a poetic perspective, this unseen gravity is a kind of faith, a reminder that not everything that shapes us can be seen. The stars trust in it, moving through their endless orbits as though following an unseen rhythm, and we, bound to our own small world, share in that same rhythm without realizing it. Every moment you stand still, the Earth spins beneath your feet. The sun carries you through space, and the galaxy itself drifts onward, circling a point you will never see, but forever feel. If you could speed up time and watch the Milky Way from afar, you'd see its stars flowing like glittering sand in a slow, luminous current. The spiral arms would seem to breathe, expanding and contracting, shimmering and fading. Clouds of gas would coil inward, while supernovae ripple outward, sending shock waves that sculpt new paths for future stars. It is motion within motion balance, within change. In this dynamic dance, our solar system is just one participant among billions, and yet our journey is precisely tuned. The sun's position halfway between the crowded core and the quiet edge offers stability. Too close to the center, radiation would be fierce. Too far out, the density of heavy elements would be too low for planets like ours to form. We live in what astronomers call the galactic habitable zone, a region neither too violent nor too barren, where life has the best chance to endure. It's as if the galaxy itself offers us a seat at the calmest part of the symphony. Still, even within this serenity, movement never ceases. Our solar system travels not only around the Milky Way, but also through it, sliding through faint clouds of gas, crossing magnetic fields, and weaving through the long tails of ancient star streams. These invisible interactions shape our space environment in subtle ways. Cosmic rays fluctuate dust, densities change, and cometary paths shift over eons. Every journey leaves its trace, even on the smallest scale. Occasionally, stars are cast free from this dance. When two massive stars orbit too close to a black hole, one may be flung outward at tremendous speed, a hypervelocity star racing through intergalactic space. Some of these travelers move fast enough to leave the Milky Way entirely, becoming eternal wanderers between galaxies. They remind us that even within order, there are moments of departure, bursts of freedom, written into the rhythm of motion. As the Milky Way turns its arms, slowly drift, reshaping over hundreds of millions of years. The galaxy of the far future will not look quite as it does tonight. Yet its essence, that endless rotation, that patient spiral will remain. The same gravity that shaped it from chaos continues to guide it now, ensuring that every motion finds its place. And here, within this quiet swirl of cosmic motion, we live our small and meaningful lives. We look up at the night sky, seeing constellations that appear still and permanent, unaware that even now, those stars are gliding through space. Orion's belt, the Big Dipper, the North Star. All of them are in motion, and centuries from now, they will drift into new patterns. The sky itself is a slow dance, choreographed over time, so long it feels eternal. There is comfort in this movement. It means that nothing in the universe is ever truly lost, only transformed, shifted, carried onward. From the orbit of an electron to the turn of a galaxy, everything participates in the same cosmic rhythm. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember that you are moving too. The planet spins beneath you. The sun carries you through the spiral arm, and the Milky Way itself flows quietly through space. You are part of the great slow dance of motion, one heartbeat in a universe that never truly rests. And now, as the stars continue their eternal waltz, may your mind drift peacefully in their rhythm, balanced between motion and stillness, between gravity and grace. If you were to step outside on a moonless night, far from cities and noise, and look up at the soft river of light that arches across the sky, you would see only the faintest clue of what we call the Milky Way. That misty band is not a single stream, but the overlapping glow of billions of stars, so many and so far away that their light merges into one gentle haze. From our position inside the galactic disk, we are like fish swimming in a vast ocean, able to glimpse only the currents that surround us, but never the ocean's full form. For centuries, that mystery inspired wonder and imagination. Ancient astronomers called it a path of spilled milk, a trail left by gods, or the ashes of creation itself. Today, with the clarity of science, we know it as our home galaxy. Yet, in many ways, it remains just as mysterious. We cannot fly above it to take a photograph. We must instead piece together its map from within, like cartographers tracing the shape of a forest by the shadows between the trees. The Milky Way, as we've come to understand, is a barred spiral galaxy. Its heart is crossed by a long bar of densely packed stars, a shining bridge that stretches about 27,000 light-years end to end. From each end of this bar, great arms sweep outward, curving in elegant spirals. Astronomers have identified several of these arms: the Sagittarius, Perseus, Norma, and Scutum Centaurus arms, though the exact number and shape are still being refined. Between two of them lies our quiet neighborhood, the Orion Spur, a minor arm where the sun drifts serenely with its retinue of planets. The spiral arms themselves are not fixed solid structures. They are waves regions of greater density that travel through the disk like ripples through water. As stars and gas enter one of these waves, they slow slightly, crowding together just long enough to ignite the birth of new stars. Then, as they drift beyond it, they resume their normal speed, leaving the newborn stars to light the path behind them. In this way, the Milky Way renews itself continuously, each arm a living procession of creation and motion. Our ability to map this structure has come through patience and technology. Visible light cannot penetrate the thick clouds of interstellar dust that fill the galactic plane, hiding much of the Milky Way from view. But radio waves and infrared light can pass through that dust, allowing astronomers to see what our eyes cannot. Using radio telescopes, scientists trace the faint glow of hydrogen gas, the most abundant element in the galaxy. By mapping how this emission shifts in frequency, they reveal the positions and velocities of vast clouds spread across the spiral arms. In infrared light, the picture becomes even clearer. Stars, too cool or too distant to shine visibly, still glow in these longer wavelengths, outlining the bar and bulge at the galaxy's center. It is as if astronomers are holding lanterns in the dark, illuminating a grand structure piece by piece. With missions like the Gaia spacecraft, the most detailed, three-dimensional map of our galaxy is now unfolding not as a static image, but as a moving portrait of motion, distance, and age. Through Gaia's measurements, we've learned that the Milky Way's disk is not flat, but warped, bending upward on one side and downward on the other, like a vast ribbon caught in a slow breeze. This warp may be caused by the gravitational pull of satellite galaxies, such as the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds, or by invisible streams of dark matter weaving through space. Whatever the cause, the warp adds a subtle grace to the galaxy's shape, a quiet imperfection that reminds us that even in cosmic order, there is gentle asymmetry. The The galactic disk itself is about 1,000 light-years thick, filled with stars, nebulae, and drifting dust lanes. Above and below it lies the halo, a more spherical cloud of older stars and dark matter that envelopes the entire system. Between the disk and the halo lies the thick disk home to intermediate-age stars that form a bridge between the galaxy's ancient core and its younger outskirts. Each region contributes its own voice to the Milky Way's symphony, from the bright songs of newborn stars to the hushed echoes of those nearing their end. If we could see in gamma rays or X-rays, the Milky Way would appear even more complex. Vast bubbles of high-energy radiation extend far above and below the galactic center, remnants of powerful events long past. These are the footprints of the galaxy's active history, ancient bursts from the supermassive black hole at its core, or waves of star formation that rippled outward through the disk. Even in its calm appearance, the Milky Way carries scars of motion, memory, and transformation. And yet, despite all we've learned, there are still places we cannot see. Vast stretches of the galactic plane remain obscured, filled with dense molecular clouds that swallow starlight whole. In these regions, new suns are forming, invisible to us, but glowing in radio and infrared wavelengths. They are the galaxy's hidden workshops, nurseries, where gravity gathers dust and gas into worlds yet to come. There's a quiet poetry in this unseen structure. The Milky Way, vast and ancient, is a living map written in invisible ink. Each wavelength of light, visible, infrared, radio, X-ray, reveals a different layer of truth, each filling in the spaces the others cannot. To understand it, we must weave them together like overlapping melodies. The visible shows us the stars. The infrared reveals their dust. The radio tells us where gas drifts. And the gamma rays whisper of ancient power. Together, they compose a portrait, both factual and deeply human. A story of curiosity, persistence, and wonder. Our galaxy's structure tells us more than where things are. It tells us how they came to be. The central bulge, shaped like a peanut or hourglass, hints at the galaxy's restless past, formed by the slow buckling of its own stellar bar over billions of years. The thick disk reveals older populations, the remnants of early mergers. The outer halo holds stars from long-absorbed companions. The Milky Way is not a finished sculpture, but an ongoing performance, each movement leaving traces of the last. And so, as we continue to refine our map of the galaxy, we are not merely cataloging stars. We are tracing the rhythm of creation itself, the spiral of birth, growth, decay, and renewal that defines the cosmos. Every discovery adds another brushstroke to the portrait of our home, each data point a whisper from a distant Sunday. The more we understand, the more humbling it becomes. For every region we illuminate, another remains in shadow. Our instruments reach farther, our measurements grow sharper, but the mystery only deepens. The Milky Way remains a paradox of light and dark, a pattern we can measure but never fully hold. And yet that very incompleteness is what makes it beautiful. Like a piece of music that lingers unresolved, it invites us to listen, to wonder, and to keep exploring. The unknown is not emptiness, it is possibility. As we drift through our quiet arm of the galaxy, we are both observers and participants in its unfolding map. Each generation adds to the picture, refining, revising, expanding. Perhaps one day, our descendants will see the Milky Way in full, its spirals glowing in all their glory, its arms mapped down to the last drifting star. Until then, we continue to listen to its faint signals, to follow its invisible lines, to draw maps in the dark. And as the stars above whisper through their many wavelengths, may your thoughts follow them, wandering gently. tracing the unseen patterns that hold us all together. Deep within the Milky Way, far beyond the spiraling arms and the drifting dust of the galactic disk, lies a region so dense with stars that darkness itself seems to retreat. This is the heart of our galaxy, the galactic center, a realm crowded, luminous, and mysterious. From our home halfway across the disk, it lies hidden behind curtains of gas and dust, invisible to the naked eye. Yet, through the patient vision of radio and infrared astronomy, we can now peer into that shrouded core and glimpse what lies there, a restless city of stars orbiting an invisible colossus. At the center of this glowing metropolis is Sagittarius A, times pronounced Sagittarius A star, a supermassive black hole, about 4 million times more massive than our Sunday. It is not a monster devouring stars, but a silent anchor shaping the motion of everything around it through gravity alone. Near its edge, stars move at breakneck speeds, whipping around unseen space at thousands of miles per second. Their orbits are not random but precise, elegant ellipses, the gravitational handwriting of the invisible object they encircle. Astronomers first suspected the presence of Sagittarius A times by studying those orbits. Year after year, they tracked the movements of stars near the galactic center and found they revolved around a single compact point, one that emitted no visible light. Only something unimaginably dense could account for such motion. Later, with the Event Horizon Telescope, humanity captured the first hints of its glow, a faint, ring-like silhouette, carved by gravity, bending light itself. It was not a photograph of destruction, but of serenity, a window into the stillness at the center of motion. The region surrounding Sagittarius A times is a cosmic city unlike any other. Thousands of stars crowd into every cubic light year, many of them massive, young, and radiant blue. Around them drift clouds of gas and dust heated by ultraviolet radiation into glowing filaments. These materials form intricate arcs and loops, sculpted by stellar winds and magnetic fields. It is a landscape, both chaotic and orderly, energy and gravity in constant conversation. Closer still, within just a few light days of the black hole, the environment becomes even more extreme. Temperatures soar into the millions of degrees. Magnetic fields twist and snap like invisible lightning. Here, matter forms an accretion disk, a swirling ring of hot plasma spiraling inward. Most of it will never cross the black hole's event horizon. Instead, it radiates energy, releasing powerful flares that can briefly outshine the combined light of millions of suns. Each flare is a whisper of the black hole's appetite, not hunger, but the slow pull of inevitability. Yet for all its power, the galactic center is not a place of constant violence. It is in many ways a place of balance. The gravitational might of Sagittarius A times holds the central bulge together, preventing the dense swarm of stars from flying apart. The bulge itself is shaped like a faint peanut or hourglass, the result of billions of years of slow internal evolution. Stars in this region move along looping figure-8 orbits, a natural outcome of the galaxy's rotating bar structure. Over cosmic time, that bar has funneled gas inward, feeding both star formation and occasionally the central black hole. From our vantage point in the Orion Spur, the center of the Milky Way lies about 25,000 light-years away in the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. Though we cannot see it directly, its influence is everywhere. Every star in the galaxy, including our Sun, orbits around that same hidden heart. It is the gravitational pulse of the Milky Way, the silent metronome keeping time across billions of years. The story of Sagittarius A times is not just about gravity, it's about patience. Black holes grow slowly, not by swallowing everything at once, but by gathering what drifts too close: stray gas, the remnants of dying stars, the ashes of creation itself. Over eons, this steady feeding shapes galaxies, regulating their growth like a quiet gardener, pruning a vast, luminous forest. In that sense, Sagittarius A times is less a destroyer and more a curator, maintaining balance in the swirling light around it. Beyond its immediate sphere, the galactic center extends into a vast radiant zone known as the central molecular zone, a band of dense clouds and energetic filaments where stars are born in abundance. Here, interstellar gas compresses under tidal forces, sparking bursts of new life amid the remnants of the old. These star-forming regions shine in radio and infrared wavelengths, hidden from optical sight, but blazing brightly in the universe's deeper colors. The heart of the galaxy, therefore, is both a cradle and a grave, a place where endings become beginnings, and matter is endlessly recycled into light. It is easy to imagine the galactic center as a chaotic place, but in truth, its chaos has rhythm. The stars near Sagittarius A times orbit with astonishing precision, each following its own invisible path, as if dancing to gravity's ancient tune. This choreography is what allows astronomers to calculate the mass of the central black hole so precisely. Even in such complexity, there is order and elegant balance born of simple laws. What lies beyond that order is mystery. The exact history of Sagittarius A times remains uncertain. Did it form alongside the galaxy itself, or did it grow later from the merger of smaller black holes? And how many times has it flared, sending waves of energy out through the Milky Way, evidence from giant gamma-ray bubbles extending above and below? The galactic plane suggests that long ago, our black hole was more active, perhaps even shining as a quasar for a brief moment in cosmic history. Now it rests quiet, waiting, the embers of its past still glowing faintly in the dark. When we study this region, we are reminded that the galaxy's center is not distant from us in spirit. Just as Sagittarius A times anchors the Milky Way, our own hearts anchor our perception of existence. Each beat, each breath keeps order amid motion. There is something deeply human about the symmetry of that idea, that life too depends on the balance between chaos and calm. If you could stand on a world orbiting one of those central stars, the sky would never be dark. Everywhere you looked, stars would blaze thousands brighter than our sun, crowding the heavens with light. Shadows would be rare. Night would glow with color. It would be a beautiful, overwhelming sight, a reminder that even in the depths of space, the universe never stops creating beauty. And yet, at the very heart of that brilliance lies silence, the black hole itself, where space and time fold into stillness. It is a paradox of creation, a place so dense that light cannot escape, yet so essential that without it, the galaxy would unravel. Perhaps that is the secret of all balance, that even in the greatest brightness, there must be an inner calm. So when you look toward the constellation Sagittarius on a clear summer night, know that you are gazing toward the core of everything we belong to, the great glowing heart that holds us all in its patient orbit. We may never see it with our own eyes, but its gravity keeps our sun on course, our world stable, and our night sky in its gentle rotation. And now, as we drift outward again through the spiral arms of the Milky Way, remember this: even in the most distant corners of existence, Every motion begins at a center. Every light traces back to a hidden heart. And as the galaxy turns slowly, gracefully around that silent core, may your thoughts too find their calm center, a quiet gravity amid the endless motion of the stars. Far beyond the galaxy's luminous arms, where the starry disk begins to fade into a pale whisper of light, lies a region older than memory. Here the Milky Way stretches into its halo, a vast, almost spherical veil of ancient stars, surrounding the spiral like the faint glow around a lantern. This is where the earliest remnants of our galaxy still drift unhurried, and enduring each one a spark of the dawn that gave birth to everything we know. These stars are different from the ones in our familiar night sky. They are older, dimmer, and poorer in heavy elements, the cosmic metals forged in later generations of stars. In astronomy, metallicity tells a story of time. The first stars contained only hydrogen and helium, the simplest ingredients left from the Big Bang. As those early suns lived, burned, and died, they enriched space with carbon, oxygen, iron, and all the other elements that would later form planets and life. The ancient stars of the halo, therefore, are like fossils, their chemistry frozen in time, a record of the Milky Way's childhood. Many of these old stars cluster together in dense spherical gatherings called globular clusters. Each contains hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of stars bound tightly by gravity. They orbit the galaxy's center, far above and below the spiral disk, tracing long, slow paths that can take hundreds of millions of years to complete. Some are nearly as old as the universe itself, about 12 or 13 billion years, meaning they were already shining long before the sun was even born. If you were to approach one of these globular clusters, the sight would take your breath away. The stars are packed so closely together that the night sky would never be dark. Every direction would blaze with light. There would be no true night, only the constant shimmer of creation's oldest embers. And yet, despite that brilliance, these clusters are quiet places. Their orbits are stable, their stars ancient, their histories long since written in light. They are time capsules, drifting serenely through space, carrying the memories of the galaxy's formation. Scientists study these clusters, not only for their beauty, but for the clues they hold about galactic evolution. By measuring the ages, motions, and chemical compositions of globular clusters, astronomers can reconstruct how the Milky Way grew. Some clusters were born within the galaxy itself. Others arrived later, captured from smaller galaxies that merged with ours. When such mergers occur, stars are torn free, stretched into long, glowing filaments that arc across the sky. These are the stellar streams, rivers of ancient light that flow through the halo, connecting past and present in a graceful web. One of the most famous of these is the Sagittarius stream, a vast ribbon of stars that once belonged to the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. Over billions of years, our Milky Way's gravity has pulled that smaller galaxy apart, scattering its stars into a loop that wraps around the galactic halo. Today, telescopes can trace this stream as it circles overhead, a delicate ghost of an ancient collision still playing out in slow motion. There are others too, the Orphan Stream, the Helmy Stream, and many unnamed threads of starlight weaving through the galactic outskirts. Each one is a story written in motion, evidence that our galaxy is not static but constantly evolving. The halo, though faint, is alive with these memories, a living archive of everything the Milky Way has ever embraced. The halo's stars are not evenly distributed. Some lie in great tidal tails. Others form faint clumps and shells, where small galaxies have dissolved entirely. The Gaia spacecraft has revealed intricate patterns in these motions, showing that the Milky Way's outer regions are not a smooth cloud, but a dynamic structure shaped by countless interactions. Every gravitational tug leaves a mark. Every encounter becomes part of the whole. Within the halo lies another, even more mysterious component, dark matter. Though invisible, it forms the true skeleton of the galaxy, extending far beyond the visible stars. Without this unseen halo, the Milky Way's rotation would not make sense. Its outer stars would fly apart. Instead, dark matter's gravity holds them together, forming a silent cocoon that stabilizes everything. It is the galaxy's memory made physical, a framework that preserves the past even as the visible parts evolve. To study the halo is to look backward in time. Some of its stars formed when the universe was less than 1 billion years old. Others are travelers captured from galaxies that passed too close. Their motions tell us where the Milky Way has been, while their chemistry reveals what it has become. Together, they create a portrait, not just of space, but of time. A slow accumulation of light that connects the newborn cosmos to the present moment. Imagine drifting among those distant, ancient stars. There would be no bright spiral arms, no glowing nebulae, only the faint shimmer of scattered suns against the infinite dark. Yet, in that quiet, you would sense the immense age of it all. Every star around you would have witnessed epochs beyond imagination. The birth of galaxies, the ignition of quasars, the first heavy elements spreading through the universe. To stand in such a place would be to touch the very bones of creation. And still, amid all that age, there is beauty. The halo is not an empty relic, but a slow, graceful motion, a waltz of ghosts. Its stars continue their orbits silent and steady, reminding us that endurance is its own kind of light. These are not the young blazing suns of the spiral arms. They are the quiet witnesses, the keepers of memory. In many ways, the halo mirrors something deeply human. It holds what came before, even as the galaxy continues to change. It remembers. Every star, every cluster, every faint stream is a record of connection. Galaxies meeting, merging, and becoming more than they were before. Out there, time does not rush, it drifts. And in that drift, the Milky Way becomes what it has always been, a collection of moments stitched together by gravity and grace. Scientists believe that even now, new stellar streams are forming as smaller satellite galaxies are slowly drawn inward. The process never truly ends. The Milky Way's edges are soft, its boundaries porous, its history open-ended. In the deep future, the halo will hold even more memories. New streams, new clusters, new whispers of what once was. Perhaps this is what makes the Milky Way so profoundly alive. It is not a single isolated structure, but a chorus, a harmony of voices from across time. The young stars of the disk sing in bright tones of birth and energy, while the halo hums the ancient undertone of memory. Together, they create a melody that stretches across billions of years, connecting the beginning of the universe to the consciousness of those who gaze at it now. As you imagine that endless expanse, the soft glow of ancient clusters, the slow swirl of forgotten galaxies, let the feeling settle like dust in quiet air. We too are part of this memory. The atoms in our bodies were once scattered among those very stars, wandering for eons before coming together here in this brief and precious moment of awareness. The halo in its silence teaches us that history never truly disappears. It only changes form, passing from star to star, from light to life. And now, as the echoes of those first suns fade into the distance, we return to the bright and restless regions of the galaxy, where new worlds are forming, and starlight is born again from the dust of memory. And as the Milky Way turns, gathering its past into new spirals of light, may your own thoughts travel with it quietly, endlessly, among the ancient echoes of the stars. Beyond the tranquil rotation of the Milky Way's spiral arms, there is another rhythm, slower, grander, and far older. It is the dance of galaxies themselves, moving through the cosmic sea. Though they appear frozen in the night sky, each one drifts through space on an invisible current of gravity, drawn and repelled by unseen tides. Among them, our Milky Way is no exception. It moves with quiet determination toward its nearest companion, the Andromeda Galaxy, a journey written into the very shape of our future. Andromeda, also known as M31, lies about 2.5 million light-years away, roughly 15 quintillion miles. Yet its fate is already intertwined with ours. Both galaxies are bound by mutual gravity, falling slowly toward one another through the dark. Their collision, predicted to occur in about 4 billion years, will not be an explosion or a catastrophe, but a merging, an elegant blending of light and matter on a scale beyond imagination. When the two galaxies meet, their stars will not crash headlong into each other. The space between them is too vast. Instead, their mutual gravity will stretch and distort them, pulling long tidal tails of starlight into space. Over millions of years, the two spirals will interlace like ribbons in water, their stars swirling into new orbits. The result will be a single massive elliptical galaxy, a luminous bloom. Scientists have already named Milkomeda the combined descendant of both galaxies. From Earth, if it still exists, then the view will be breathtaking. Over eons, Andromeda will grow larger in our sky, transforming from a faint smudge of light into a brilliant arc that dominates the heavens. The night will glow with stars from two galaxies at once, and the familiar constellations will dissolve into new forms. Eventually, the two galaxies will settle into calm, a single radiant structure turning slowly in the void, the past and future of countless stars united in one form. This upcoming merger is not an exception in the universe. It is the rule. Galaxies are not static islands. They live, interact, and evolve through collisions and unions. Every large galaxy we see today grew from smaller ones drawn together by gravity's patient hand. Our Milky Way too was built this way, absorbing dwarf galaxies over billions of years. The streams of stars that lace our halo, those ancient rivers of light, are the lingering trails of those encounters. In a sense, the Milky Way is already in mid-conversation with its neighbors. Dozens of small satellite galaxies orbit around it like a family of companions. The largest of these are the Magellanic Clouds, the large and small, easily visible from the southern hemisphere as faint glowing patches in the night sky. These two irregular galaxies are slowly spiraling toward the Milky Way, their gravitational dance creating a vast ribbon of gas known as the Magellanic Stream. This stream, stretching over half the sky, feeds our galaxy with fresh hydrogen, the raw material for future stars. The Magellanic Clouds themselves are busy places of creation. Within them, massive nebulae like the Tarantula Nebula team, with newborn stars and swirling dust. Each of those stars will one day join the Milky Way's greater rotation, becoming part of our shared future. In this way, our galaxy is not just growing through mergers, it is breathing, drawing in new life from its companions. Among all this slow, graceful motion, there are moments of sudden release. When stars pass too close to the galactic center, where the black hole Sagittarius A waits with quiet gravity, some are caught in a dangerous embrace. Binary stars orbiting each other tightly can be torn apart by this immense pull. One star may spiral inward, consumed or flung into a tight orbit around the black hole, while the other is slingshotted outward at incredible speed. These are the hypervelocity stars, wanderers cast into intergalactic space, racing away from home at millions of miles per hour. Hypervelocity stars are rare but profound. They are reminders that even within cosmic harmony, moments of drama occur, brief surges of motion that ripple across the universe. Some of these stars will never return. They will drift forever through the vast darkness between galaxies, carrying the chemical fingerprint of the Milky Way into eternity. If galaxies are living systems, then hypervelocity stars are their scattered seeds, pieces of their being set free to travel forever. In the wider neighborhood, the Milky Way is part of a small community called the Local Group. About 50 galaxies bound together by gravity. Andromeda and our galaxy are the two largest, circling a common center. While smaller members, like Triangulum and the Magellanic Clouds, trace graceful loops around them. Together, they drift through an even larger structure, the Virgo supercluster itself, part of a network of filaments that stretches across the universe. In this grand web, galaxies are not isolated at all. They form clusters, streams, and walls, cosmic cities connected by invisible highways of gravity. This vast connectedness reveals something humbling. Every point of light in the sky, every galaxy, every star moves in response to the others. Nothing in the cosmos stands still. The same force that pulls a falling leaf to the ground also guides the paths of galaxies over billions of years. The scale changes, but the law remains. Gravity is the quiet poetry of the universe, patient, inevitable, and kind. If we could watch this great ballet sped up through time, we would see galaxies swirl and merge like droplets of paint in water, their colors mixing into new forms. Collisions would light up with waves of star formation as clouds of gas compress and ignite. Over time, the bright spiral shapes would soften into ellipses, smoother, rounder, quieter, like the face of an elder that has seen much and rests in wisdom. The Milky Way's own future will be just such a transformation, from youthful spiral to calm, glowing ellipse, filled with older, gentler stars. And even after that, the story will not end. When the merged Milky Way galaxy eventually runs low on gas, new stars will form less frequently, and its light will grow softer. Yet its stars, including whatever remains of our sun's descendants, will continue to orbit, to shimmer, to drift. The galaxy will endure, shining faintly into the infinite dark for trillions of years. It is strange and comforting to think that something so vast can also feel so familiar. The galaxies move, not in chaos, but in a rhythm that echoes our own patterns of meeting and parting, of gathering and letting go. Just as rivers join the sea, galaxies merge into new forms. Just as leaves fall from trees and feed the soil, stars scatter their light to feed new generations. The same pattern of renewal we see in a forest or an ocean exists here, written across light years. And in this cosmic story, we are not separate observers, we are part of it. Every atom in your body once belonged to a star that was born, lived, and died in one of these ancient galaxies, perhaps even one long absorbed by the Milky Way. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all of it came from collisions like these, from encounters that shaped the cosmos. The universe, it seems, has always been a meeting place, from particles forming atoms to stars forming galaxies, to galaxies merging in vast, luminous embraces. Everything is drawn together, only to part again. In that endless exchange lies the essence of creation, motion, connection, and renewal. So tonight, if you look toward the faint blur of Andromeda in the northern sky, know that you are seeing the future written in light. That delicate glow is our galaxy's reflection, a mirror across time. One day, the light from both will blend, and the stars of two ancient spirals will sing the same quiet song. And as the universe continues its long, slow waltz, may you feel that rhythm in your own heart, steady, patient and timeless. The same rhythm that guides galaxies through the dark. Every story of creation begins with a whisper, a gathering of silence before the first note of light. In the Milky Way, that whisper is written in clouds of cold gas and cosmic dust, drifting like fog through the spiral arms. Within these clouds lie the seeds of everything: stars, planets, even the atoms that will someday make up life itself. The galaxy is not a static painting of light, but a living organism, forever inhaling and exhaling through the birth and death of its stars. Star birth begins in stillness. Inside the great molecular clouds, some stretching for hundreds of light years, temperatures fall close to absolute zero, around -400 degrees Fahrenheit. In that deep cold, gravity becomes patient and persistent. Over thousands of centuries, tiny ripples of density form within the cloud, gathering mass, until gravity takes hold completely. Gas collapses, inward heating as it falls, and the invisible becomes visible, the first faint glow of a protostar, a promise of light about to awaken. These stellar nurseries are scattered throughout the Milky Way. In the Orion Nebula, about 1,300 light-years away, young stars are bursting from their birth cocoons, illuminating the surrounding gas with ultraviolet light. The Carina Nebula, larger and more turbulent, seethes with massive blue stars, whose radiation sculpts the clouds into pillars and waves. In these regions, stars are not born alone, but in families, clusters bound loosely by gravity, shining together for millions of years before drifting apart into the wider galaxy. The process of birth is slow, almost meditative, as the collapsing gas heat's pressure builds until the core of the protostar reaches about 18 million degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, something miraculous happens. Hydrogen begins to fuse into helium. The first atoms of the universe are reborn as light. The protostar becomes a true star, a furnace of stability where gravity and radiation find balance. It begins to shine, and the darkness around it fades. For most stars, this balance lasts billions of years. In our own sun, hydrogen fusion has burned steadily for about 4.5 billion years, converting over 600 million tons of matter into energy every second. That sounds violent, yet the process is constant and peaceful on cosmic scales. Stars are not explosions. They are harmonies, maintaining equilibrium between the inward pull of gravity and the outward push of light. But even stars must breathe. When their hydrogen fuel runs low, their rhythm changes. Gravity begins to win again, compressing the core, while the outer layers expand and cool. The star swells into a red giant, its light softening to amber. In this stage, stars shed their outer layers into space, creating glowing shells of gas called planetary nebulae. These are among the most beautiful sights in the galaxy, luminous flowers blooming in the dark, each one the farewell breath of a dying Sunday. In the case of massive stars, those 10 or 20 times the mass of our Sun, the ending is more dramatic. Their gravity is so immense that when fusion can no longer sustain them, they collapse inward catastrophically. In a heartbeat, the core implodes, and the outer layers rebound in a titanic shockwave, a supernova. For a few weeks, such a star can outshine an entire galaxy, radiating as much energy as the Sun will produce in its entire lifetime. Though the word supernova suggests destruction, what follows is creation. The shockwave from a dying star seeds the surrounding space with heavy elements: carbon, calcium, gold, silver, and iron, the building blocks of planets and life. The nebulae left behind, like the Crab Nebula or Cassiopeia, aglow for thousands of years, scattering their enriched dust into the interstellar medium. From that dust, new clouds form, and the cycle begins again. The galaxy exhales, then inhales, and in that rhythm, the cosmos breathes itself alive. Even more massive stars leave behind neutron stars or black holes, remnants of gravity so intense that they warp space itself. A neutron star, only about 12 miles across, contains more mass than the Sun, its matter compressed into a density beyond comprehension. Some spin rapidly, emitting beams of radio waves, pulsars that sweep the galaxy like cosmic lighthouses. Black holes, on the other hand, become invisible anchors, drawing new material inward and shaping the evolution of the galaxy over time. Every element on Earth was once part of this breathing cycle. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all were forged in ancient stars and scattered through space by supernovae, billions of years before the solar system formed. When our sun ignited, it gathered that dust into a new creation: planets, oceans, forests, and eventually us. In this sense, life itself is the galaxy's breath, made conscious, the universe remembering itself through living eyes. In some corners of the Milky Way, this process unfolds on unimaginable scales. The galactic bar and spiral arms funnel gas inward toward the central regions where star formation flares like a heartbeat. Elsewhere, in quieter outer arms, solitary stars form in isolation, smaller and longer lived. The galaxy, like a great organism, balances its energies. Bursts of creation near the core, calm persistence at the edges. Star formation does not continue indefinitely. Over cosmic time, as gas supplies dwindle, galaxies slow their rate of creation. The Milky Way's most active years are long behind it, yet new stars still appear, a few each year, scattered across its spiraling arms. Each one adds a note to the ongoing melody of existence. Long after we are gone, the galaxy will still be breathing faint but steady, its rhythm echoing through time. When viewed in infrared light, the Milky Way reveals its lungs, great tendrils of gas winding through the disk, glowing softly where new stars are born. These regions, the Eagle Nebula, the Rosette, the Lagoon, are nurseries glowing with both life and memory. Inside them, starlight filters through clouds of dust, like sunlight through fog, illuminating the edges of creation. Perhaps the most remarkable part of this process is its patience. From the first stirrings of collapse to the ignition of fusion, a single star's birth may take millions of years. From its first light to its final fading, billions more. The galaxy never rushes. It creates with care, with rhythm, with grace. When you look at the stars tonight, you are seeing thousands of stages of this eternal breath. Some just beginning, some in their prime, some fading into silence. The light that reaches you now may have left its star before humanity existed, traveling across space for tens of thousands of years. Each beam of starlight is a message from the past, a reminder that creation is both ancient and ongoing. The Milky Way is more than a structure of stars and gas. It is a process, an endless exchange between light and darkness, between birth and decay. It is a self-sustaining rhythm, a cosmic breathing that began with the first dawn and will continue long after the last. And in this rhythm, we find something profound: peace. To know that everything we are comes from this patient pulse of creation is to feel a quiet belonging. We are not apart from the universe's motion. We are its continuation, its echo, its living breath. So take a slow breath now and let that truth settle. The same atoms that once burned in the hearts of stars now move in the air you breathe, in the life you live, in the dreams you carry. The universe exhales through you, And as the galaxy continues, its soft inhalation, new stars forming from the ashes of old, may your thoughts follow that same cycle, releasing, renewing, glowing, gently, like starlight reborn. In the soft silver glow of night, we imagine that starlight is all there is. The world above seems made of bright pinpoints against a black sea, pure and simple. Yet what our eyes perceive is only a sliver of reality. The Milky Way, like every galaxy, hums across an entire spectrum of hidden colors and energies, singing in frequencies our senses cannot hear. If we could see beyond visible light, the universe would look utterly transformed. In radio waves, the galaxy becomes vast and intricate, its arms outlined by streams of cold hydrogen gas. In infrared, the dust between stars glows warmly, revealing the shape of hidden clouds where new suns are born. In ultraviolet and X-rays, the hottest, most violent events, flare, supernova, remnants, neutron stars, and the faint whispers of black holes feeding in the dark. Together, these unseen wavelengths paint a truer portrait of our home, a living galaxy that radiates not only light, but energy in every form. Each part of the spectrum reveals another layer of the Milky Way's soul. The quietest voice among them is the radio. Long, low waves drift through the galaxy, like deep tones in a symphony, carrying the story of hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element in existence. Each hydrogen atom emits a faint signal at 21 centimeters, a natural broadcast that astronomers can detect across the stars. By mapping that signal, scientists trace the vast rivers of gas winding through the Milky Way's arms. These maps, invisible to the eye, but clear to the mind, show where the next generations of stars will one day ignite. At slightly shorter wavelengths lies the infrared, the light of warmth. Though dust clouds block visible starlight, they glow softly in infrared, revealing the hidden nurseries where stars are born. Missions like the Spitzer Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope have turned this invisible light into pictures so rich they feel like dreams. Entire regions of the galaxy, sculpted in hues of copper, crimson, and gold. Within those shapes, astronomers watch the slow alchemy of creation, cold dust turning to brilliance. The ultraviolet, meanwhile, tells the story of youth. The hottest, youngest stars blaze in this energetic color, their fierce radiation streaming outward to shape their surroundings. In ultraviolet, the galaxy becomes alive, with motion, shock fronts, ionized gas, and expanding shells, where supernovae have carved out hollows in the interstellar medium. This is the light of renewal and transformation, intense but fleeting. At the most energetic end of the spectrum, X-rays and gamma rays reveal the galaxy's hidden drama. Here, neutron stars spin, sending beams of energy sweeping through the void. Black holes feed, releasing jets of radiation that pierce the dark. Though these events occur silently, their effects ripple across thousands of light years, heating gas, driving winds, and shaping the Milky Way's evolution. Above and below the galactic plane, astronomers have discovered something extraordinary. Two immense structures of high-energy gas, each stretching about 25,000 light-years from the center. These are the Fermi bubbles, named after the telescope that first detected them. They are faint, ghostly domes of X-rays and gamma rays, relics of some ancient event in the Milky Way's core. Perhaps a flare from the black hole Sagittarius A, times long ago, or a burst of star formation that unleashed waves of energy into space. From Earth, we cannot see these bubbles, but in gamma-ray light, they are majestic, silent lanterns suspended above and below the galaxy. They remind us that even in its calm appearance, the Milky Way carries within it the memory of fire. Every wavelength of light tells a story, and when combined, they reveal the Milky Way as a multi-layered masterpiece. Visible light gives us the stars. Infrared shows us the dust and heat. Radio reveals the gas. Ultraviolet and X-rays expose the high-energy hearts of creation and destruction. The entire galaxy is a symphony, not of sound, but of frequencies, playing all at once across the spectrum of existence. The human eye, wonderful as it is, captures only a tiny octave of that cosmic symphony from red to violet. Beyond that, our world is full of light we cannot see. It passes through us every moment, carrying the signatures of distant galaxies, stars, and planets. When we step into sunlight, we are bathed in infrared warmth and ultraviolet shimmer. When we tune a radio, we are touching the same waves that once crossed the heart of the galaxy. There is a quiet poetry in this idea that the universe surrounds us with light we cannot perceive. Yet, it touches everything. We live inside a constant flow of energy, much of it invisible, all of it real. To see with instruments, with telescopes and sensors, is to extend our perception, to open our senses to what lies beyond our human limits. This invisible universe is not empty. It is a field of connection. Gamma rays travel from collapsing stars. X-rays from distant quasars cross billions of light years to reach us. Radio waves hum from the depths of interstellar space. Each carries information, a fingerprint of the event that created it. Astronomers read these signals like ancient scrolls written in light, decoding stories of creation, decay, and renewal. When scientists convert these invisible frequencies into colors, we can see they do not merely make data visible, they translate the language of the cosmos. A false color image of the Milky Way in infrared or X-ray light is a kind of cosmic poem, revealing what the universe whispers beyond our senses. And through these invisible wavelengths, we have come to understand that the Milky Way is alive in ways we could never have guessed. It breathes heat through its dust, clouds, hums with radio waves, flickers with bursts of gamma radiation. It is not a silent galaxy, only a quiet one to our limited hearing. Our instruments give us ears for that silence. They reveal that the night sky, far from being still, is a place of motion, heat, and vibration. Even the darkness glows faintly in microwaves, the afterglow of the Big Bang, the oldest light in the universe, still echoing around us after nearly 14 billion years. We live surrounded by this faint cosmic memory, its wavelength stretched by time, its tone gentle but unending. Perhaps that is the most humbling realization, that the universe speaks in light we cannot see. And yet, that unseen light is what holds it together. The galaxies communicate in frequencies across time, whispering to one another through radiation and gravity. The Milky Way listens, responds, and adds its own voice to the cosmic song. In our daily lives, we walk through that unseen energy without noticing sunlight on skin, the hum of radio, the warmth that radiates from our planet at night. We are made not only of matter, but of light, bathed constantly in it, shaped by it. The same photons that once left a distant star may pass through your eye tonight, connecting you directly to that faraway Sunday. And so, when you look up and see only a fraction of the galaxy's glow, remember that what you cannot see is equally alive. The night is not dark. It is saturated with light beyond our perception. Each invisible wavelength is a thread in the great tapestry of existence, woven together to form the full image of creation. The Milky Way's beauty is not confined to what the eye beholds. It lives in the unseen, in the low hum of hydrogen, the warm breath of dust, the silent flare of X-rays, the whisper of microwaves. To perceive these is to witness the fullness of reality, the hidden harmony of a universe that shines even in its shadows. And as that invisible light travels endlessly through the dark, may you too feel illuminated quietly inwardly by the knowledge that there is always more to see, more to know, more to feel than the limits of your eyes can contain. In the stillness between the stars, there are clocks ticking silent, precise, eternal. These are not the clocks we build, but those the universe has made for itself. They are the pulsars, ancient compact remnants of massive stars. Their hearts collapsed into spheres, no larger than a city, yet heavier than the Sunday. They spin faster than any wheel, faster than any storm, sending beams of light and radio energy sweeping through the galaxy like cosmic lighthouses. Each pulse is a heartbeat of the universe, steady and unwavering. Some spin hundreds of times per second, flashing in rhythms so regular that astronomers use them to measure time across the cosmos. Long before humanity learned to count seconds, the galaxy already kept time in pulses of light. These extraordinary objects begin life in fire. When a massive star runs out of fuel, its core collapses, squeezing protons and electrons together until they form neutrons. The resulting neutron star is an object of impossible density. A teaspoon of its matter would weigh billions of tons. If the original star was spinning, the collapse compresses that motion, just as a skater spins faster when drawing in her arms. The result is a celestial engine spinning in near-perfect precision, beaming radiation out from its magnetic poles. Astronomers detect these pulses in radio waves, X-rays, and even visible light. Each one is a reminder that even in death, a star can still give something back. Not light in the ordinary sense, but information, rhythm, memory. The galaxy is full of these quiet metronomes, marking time not just for scientists, but for space itself. Some pulsars exist in binary pairs, orbiting other stars or neutron companions. Their interactions twist space-time, ever so slightly, sending out ripples known as gravitational waves. With exquisite instruments, astronomers can detect these subtle vibrations in the fabric of the universe, the echoes of massive objects dancing together across unimaginable distances. It is through these faint tremors that we have confirmed one of Einstein's most beautiful predictions, that gravity itself can sing. And yet, for all their precision, pulsars are not cold machines. They are poetic in their constancy. Each one tells a story of a star's life, its collapse, and its endurance beyond death. Some have been spinning for tens of millions of years, their rhythms unchanged, their light unwavering. They are the elder voices of the galaxy, whispering through the dark, keeping time for all that still moves and changes. The Milky Way is filled with these timekeepers. Scattered among the arms and halo, they form a hidden network, a cosmic clockwork invisible to human eyes. Radio telescopes across Earth listen to them, constantly turning their signals into data, their patterns into maps. With every new pulsar discovered, our understanding of the galaxy's structure sharpens. We trace distances, measure motion, and refine our sense of where we are in the grand scheme of things. It is not only pulsars that keep this luminous memory. There are other relics too. White dwarfs, the quiet embers of smaller stars glowing gently for billions of years as they cool. Each one is a reminder of energy spent wisely, of fuel transformed into endurance. Even when their light fades, their gravity remains tugging softly on nearby companions, shaping planetary orbits long after the flames have gone out. Through these ancient remnants, the galaxy holds on to its past. Like fossils embedded in stone, they preserve the story of what once burned bright. Astronomers can read those stories through their chemical signatures, their motions, their temperatures. The Milky Way is not a fleeting scene, but a layered memory, each generation of stars recording its life and passing it to the next. To see that continuity is to glimpse the galaxy as a living being, one that remembers itself through light. Every star, from newborn to dying ember, contributes to the archive. When we look at the night sky, we are not seeing the present. We are looking into that archive, into the deep past. The starlight striking your eyes tonight may have left its source before humanity's ancestors stood upright, before the continents took their modern shapes, before Earth had a name. And still, it arrives unchanged, untiring. Light is the most faithful messenger of the cosmos. It travels at nearly 700 million miles per hour, unblinking and pure, crossing distances beyond comprehension just to reach us. It carries with it the imprint of the star. It came from its color, its temperature, its motion. To study that light is to read the diary of the universe. Some stars pulse not in radio but in brightness, their luminosity waxing and waning like breath. Cepheid variables, for instance, expand and contract rhythmically. Their cycles so consistent that astronomers use them as beacons to measure distance across the galaxy. They are like lighthouses, built of light itself, their steady flicker, allowing us to map the Milky Way's farthest shores. There is a tender metaphor in that the galaxy guides its own exploration through its own light. Even the stars that fade still leave something behind, an echo, a signature, a rhythm that helps others find their way. In this way, the Milky Way is both an organism and a library. Its oldest clusters preserve the story of its youth. Its pulsars mark its ongoing time. Its supernova remnants and nebulae record its cycles of renewal. To explore it is to leaf through a cosmic book written not in ink but in radiance. And we, small and fleeting though we are, have become readers of that book. With our telescopes and detectors, we've learned to translate its pages, the X-ray flares, the radio pulses, the drifting starlight. We are the first beings, so far as we know, who can listen to the galaxy remembering itself. When scientists speak of light years, they are describing not just distance, but time, the age of a message on its way to us. Each star in the night sky is a letter sent long ago, and every telescope is a window into the past. The Milky Way writes constantly in photons instead of words, and we are only beginning to understand its language. Even in the space between stars, light finds a way to endure. Cosmic rays, high-energy particles born in supernovae, travel across the galaxy, colliding, scattering, transforming. Their journey is long and their message faint, but they too are part of the record. They remind us that even in apparent emptiness, the universe is filled with motion and memory. To lie beneath the night sky, then, is to be surrounded by the thoughts of the cosmos. Every shimmer above you is a moment of remembrance, a note from the past, still singing in the present. The stars do not forget. They endure in silence, carrying forward the memory of light. And so, when you next look upward, take a moment to listen inwardly, not with ears, but with imagination. The night is not empty. It is alive with rhythm, and recall a gentle pulse that links all things that have ever burned or dreamed, the stars that died long ago, still whisper through their light. The galaxy's timekeepers continue to tick, measuring the endless, unhurried heartbeat of existence. And as that steady rhythm continues, pulse by pulse, flare by flare, may it remind you that even in stillness, you are part of the movement of light. An echo, a reflection, a living moment in the Milky Way's memory. Somewhere between the glowing center of the Milky Way and its faint, drifting edge lies a calm, golden middle, a place of balance and refuge. This is where our solar system lives. Our home star, the Sun, orbits the galaxy at a distance of about 25,000 light-years from the core, nestled within a subtle curve of starlight known as the Orion Spur, a small bridge between two greater arms, the Perseus and Sagittarius. It is neither too close to the chaos of the core, nor too far from the quiet reaches beyond. It is in every way a gentle neighborhood in a vast cosmic city. The Orion Spur may seem unremarkable, but in that simplicity lies grace. The gas clouds here are not as turbulent as those nearer the center, and radiation levels are lower, allowing worlds like Earth to thrive in relative peace. Astronomers call this region the galactic habitable zone, not because it guarantees life, but because it provides the calm conditions in which life can emerge and endure. Were we much closer to the core, the sky might blaze with too many nearby stars, their radiation fierce enough to strip planets bare. Much farther out, the interstellar medium would grow too thin, the chemical richness too faint to form complex worlds. By a beautiful accident of physics, we live at just the right distance, not at the center of power, but at the edge of comfort. If the Milky Way were a glowing disk a yard across our sun, would sit halfway from the center to the rim, a single grain of dust on that vast plain. Around it, 8 planets circle like tiny motes of light. Beyond those icy comets and faint dwarf worlds drift through the darkness, tracing the delicate borders of the solar system's influence. And together, we all move, the sun, the planets, the asteroids, the clouds of dust, orbiting the galactic center as one family bound by invisible gravity. Our speed is staggering about 500,000 miles per hour through space, yet we feel nothing. The Earth's oceans do not ripple from it, and the stars above seem still. The distances are too immense for us to sense the motion. We live aboard a moving world, inside a moving solar system, within a moving galaxy. And yet here, everything feels still. There is a kind of peace in that illusion, a reminder that motion and stillness can coexist. If we could step outside the galaxy and look back, we would see the Milky Way as a slender whirlpool of light, its arms winding like ribbons of frost. Somewhere along one of those ribbons, far smaller than a grain of sand, would be our entire world, every mountain, every ocean, every life. From that vantage, the word small would lose its meaning. We would simply be part of something immeasurable. Still, this smallness is not insignificance. The very atoms that form our bodies were born in stars, scattered throughout this same galaxy. We are built of the same matter that glows in the spiral, arms breathes in the nebulae, and falls into the quiet heart of the core. Every element in our blood, our bones and our breath, was once dust, drifting through the Milky Way, waiting for its next form. The galaxy is not distant from us, it is us. Our quiet address in the cosmos is shared with neighbors we are only beginning to know. Within a few light years lie the Proxima and Alpha Centauri systems' faint beacons in the darkness. Beyond them, the stars thin into the grand expanse of the local bubble, a cavity of hot, thin gas created by long-ago supernovae. This is our local region of space, a gently carved void through which the sun sails like a ship across calm seas. Beyond our bubble, the Milky Way's disk continues stretching outward until the bright arms dissolve into scattered stars. These outer regions are colder and more tenuous, filled with hydrogen gas and faint drifting dust. Yet even here in the quiet edges the galaxy breathes. New stars flicker into being in the outskirts, proving that creation never truly ends. We are not alone, even in motion. The Milky Way belongs to a greater family, the local group, a small cluster of about 50 galaxies, bound together by gravity. Andromeda, our grand sister, is the largest of these. The Triangulum galaxy follows nearby, while smaller companions, the Magellanic Clouds, Leo Y, and Ursa Minor, circle our periphery like distant relatives. Together, these galaxies drift through the cosmic web, moving toward one another in a slow, inevitable gathering. Beyond the local group lies the Virgo supercluster, a sprawling structure of thousands of galaxies, arranged like pearls on invisible strings. Beyond even that, the Laniakea supercluster, which stretches across hundreds of millions of light-years, cradles our local group within its luminous arms. Every one of those galaxies is moving, rotating, breathing, just as ours does. In that grand order, the Milky Way is both vast and humble, a single thread in the tapestry of the universe. Yet from this small corner, we have learned to look outward and understand it all. From this quiet spur we have sent our voices into space, radio signals, data songs. We have mapped the stars, listened to the pulses of quasars, and traced the arcs of dark matter. The galaxy, once a mystery of myth, has become a home we can measure and imagine, though never fully grasp. Still, even with our science, the emotional truth remains. Our galaxy is both cradle and mystery, and we live inside its slow-turning arms like passengers in an endless dream. The light that surrounds us is both ancient and immediate crossing time to meet our eyes. The starlight that warmed early oceans still shines above us, now unchanged. In its essence, only shifted slightly by distance. In this way, the Milky Way becomes a mirror, showing us not only what the universe is, but what we are. Sometimes, on the clearest nights, you can trace its faint milky glow across the sky, a soft river flowing from horizon to horizon. It is easy to forget that we are inside that river, not beneath it. We are swimming in it, made of it, moving with it. Every shimmer is a neighbor, every photon a bridge between worlds. Astronomers have often said that we live in a middle place between extremes, between chaos and emptiness. It is an apt description of our cosmic address. The galaxy's core burns with density and energy, while its outer reaches drift in near silence. Here, in the in-between conditions, balanced delicately enough for life to arise, for planets to form, for consciousness to wonder. It is a gentle equilibrium, one that has lasted billions of years. The Milky Way itself is slightly lopsided, its disk warped and tilted, its arms uneven. But that imperfection gives it character, a quiet reminder that even galaxies are shaped by their experiences, by the tugs and whispers of their neighbors, by the echoes of encounters long past. We too carry those imprints, those asymmetries in our hearts. They are what make us whole. And so here we are, orbiting together through time and space, a single species on a small blue world, nestled in a quiet spur of a modest spiral galaxy. Our home is not grand in scale compared to the universe, yet it contains everything that matters: love, memory, curiosity, and the capacity to look up and ask why. Perhaps that is the most extraordinary thing of all, that a collection of atoms forged in stars can stand on a world and contemplate its own address in the cosmos. We are the Milky Way, made aware of itself, the galaxy dreaming of its own reflection. And now, as the spiral arms of our home continue their slow and silent turn, let yourself feel the belonging of it, that wherever you are already home. Not just on Earth, but in the galaxy that carried you here. Not just in space, but in the endless motion of creation. For this is our quiet address, a small corner of a great breathing galaxy, neither center nor edge, but balance, a place to rest, a place to look outward and within. And as the stars above glide onward, one orbit at a time, may you remember your place in that soft rhythm, small, luminous, eternal. Beyond the luminous sweep of our Milky Way lies the unseen current that carries all galaxies through the cosmos, the slow river of expansion that began with the birth of time itself. Though we speak of the Milky Way as a single, complete entity, it is in truth only a droplet in that immense flow drifting outward on space's silent tide. 14 billion years ago, in the first instant after the Big Bang, the universe erupted from a state smaller than an atom. Space stretched not into emptiness, but into being itself, a vast, expanding fabric filled with light. Over eons that light cooled into matter, and matter gathered into stars, then galaxies. What we call the Milky Way is one of those condensations, a swirl of ancient starlight, still riding the current that began in that first breath. Every galaxy in the universe is moving away from every other, carried along by this expansion. It is not that they travel through space, rather space itself stretches between them. On the largest scales, there is no center, no edge, only motion. The slow widening of everything that exists. Even the Milky Way, majestic and self-contained, drifts gently in this cosmic tide, part of a pattern far greater than its own rotation. Astronomers have mapped this flow by studying the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light in the universe. It bathes the cosmos in a uniform whisper, a faint radiation only a few degrees above absolute zero. Within that whisper are tiny ripples, slight variations in temperature that mark the seeds of all future structure. The Milky Way itself was once one of those ripples, a denser region of early matter destined to become a galaxy. When we look into that background, we are seeing not only our origin, but our belonging to something unimaginably vast. In this grand expansion, galaxies gather into filaments and clusters, forming the cosmic web, an immense structure that stretches across billions of light years. Between its luminous threads lie dark voids, immense regions where few galaxies dwell. Our Milky Way is woven into one of these filaments, connected to Andromeda, the Virgo cluster, and the broader Laniakea supercluster, a colossal basin of gravity that guides our galaxy's drift. The name Laniakea comes from the Hawaiian language, meaning immeasurable heaven. And it is fitting an expanse of stars so vast that even light takes hundreds of millions of years to cross it. Within this supercluster, the Milky Way and its companions flow toward a distant point of attraction known as the Great Attractor, a gravitational convergence pulling thousands of galaxies in its direction. We cannot see it directly, for it lies behind the dense plane of our own galaxy, but we feel its influence in the Milky Way's motion, a subtle, constant drift through the dark. Even on scales, this large gravity still whispers, still shapes, still connects. To imagine all this motion is to feel a kind of vertigo, not of fear, but of awe. Our galaxy, with its billions of stars, its elegant spiral, its tranquil orbit, is itself in motion through a structure so vast it defies comprehension. The Milky Way circles its own center. That center orbits within the local group. The local group moves through Laniakea, And Laniakea, drifts in the cosmic expansion. Motion within motion, layer upon layer, a fractal dance of gravity and light. And yet, in this perpetual motion, there is balance. The expansion of space does not tear galaxies apart. Their internal gravity binds them close, preserving their coherence even as the universe itself grows. It is a paradox, both physical and poetic. We are expanding yet held, moving yet still. The light that fills the universe too stretches with time. As space expands, the wavelengths of ancient photons lengthen, redshifted into softer hues. What began as bright ultraviolet fire now hums faintly as microwave energy, the universe's own afterglow, fading slowly into warmth. Every moment that passes, the light around us grows older, gentler, more distant, and yet it endures. If we could watch the future unfold over trillions of years, we would see this expansion carry galaxies farther and farther apart until only local clusters remain bound together. The night sky then would grow emptier. The Milky Way and Andromeda, merged into a single elliptical galaxy, would shine alone in a darkening cosmos. Beyond it, the other galaxies would recede faster than light could reach them, their signals forever lost to time. It would be a quieter universe, smaller in sight, though no less full in spirit. But that far future is not a loss. It is the natural rhythm of creation, expansion, and dispersal, motion and rest. The universe breathes just as stars do, just as galaxies do. What we call emptiness is simply the space between notes in a cosmic melody, still unfolding. Even now, light from the most distant galaxies travels for billions of years to reach us. By the time it arrives, those galaxies may have changed entirely or ceased to exist. Yet their light remains bridging time itself. When we look deep into the night sky, we are seeing the universe not as it is, but as it was, a living memory stretching back to its earliest dawn. Each photon that enters your eye tonight began its journey before our world was born. That is perhaps the most intimate truth of all, that light connects everything. The stars, the galaxies, the great river of expansion, all are joined by the motion of light across time, and we, made of stardust, are part of that flow. Every atom in us once absorbed and released photons, each a brief echo of the universe's first illumination. There is comfort in this continuity. The galaxy may drift through the cosmic sea, but its journey is gentle, guided by gravity and by time. We too are carried by those same forces, not passengers but participants. Our thoughts, our memories, our small acts of wonder are the universe becoming aware of its own story. When astronomers map the cosmic web, they sometimes describe it as resembling a brain filaments of galaxies connected by glowing nodes of light. If that image holds true, then perhaps we are neurons in a thinking universe, each galaxy a spark in a mind that spans eternity. And if so, the Milky Way is not merely our home. It is one thought among many shining quietly in the infinite expanse. It is humbling to realize that all we are, all we know, floats in this river beyond the stars. A galaxy among galaxies, one brief note in the eternal expansion of space. And yet within that smallness lies something immense, the ability to see, to feel, to know. From this quiet arm of the Milky Way, life has looked outward and seen the whole, recognized its place in the great unfolding. Perhaps that is the purpose of awareness, to be the mirror in which the universe sees its own reflection, to feel wonder at its vastness and peace in its flow. The Milky Way will continue its journey through the river, beyond, carried by invisible tides, guided by forces older than time. And we, for a little while, will drift with it, aware, luminous, alive. So, as you rest beneath the stars tonight, remember this. You are part of that river. Every breath you take, every thought that flickers moves with the same expansion that carries galaxies apart. The space within you is the same space between the stars. You are not in the universe. You are the universe thinking, seeing, dreaming itself into being. And as the galaxies drift gently onward, as light continues its infinite journey across time, may your thoughts flow with them, calm, endless, and bright, following the river beyond. Breathe deeply, and let your awareness drift as softly as starlight falling through water. The story of the Milky Way is not a single tale, but an unending song, a harmony of gravity and light of time and patience. We began this journey at the birth of our galaxy, in the faint glow of hydrogen clouds collapsing into stars. We wandered through its arms, its heart, its halo, and its hidden structures. We listened to the pulses of dying suns, traced the paths of drifting worlds, and looked beyond its luminous edge into the quiet, expanding sea of the universe itself. And now, as the music of the cosmos settles into its final refrain, we return to where all journeys end, not in conclusion, but in stillness. In the great scale of time, even galaxies fade. The Milky Way, bright and alive tonight, will one day merge with Andromeda, forming a single glowing sphere of old stars. Its spiral arms will dissolve, its dust will thin, and new stars will grow rarer. The galaxy will become quieter, calmer, a place of slow light and long memory. But in that future stillness, nothing is truly lost. The elements forged in its stars, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and iron, will remain drifting through space until they find new homes. The Milky Way story will continue written, not in starlight, but in the matter that carries its memory forward. The atoms in your body, the water in your veins, will one day return to that vast circulation, perhaps to form another world, another living being, who looks up and wonders at the sky. We tend to imagine endings as silence, a fade to black, but in truth, the universe never stops humming. Even when the last stars cool, when the galaxies have drifted apart, and the night has stretched into infinity, faint ripples of energy will remain. The fabric of space itself will still vibrate with the residue of creation, the echo of every heartbeat that ever existed. If you could listen to that far future, it might sound like a sigh, the long, peaceful exhalation of a cosmos that has fulfilled its purpose. The Milky Way even now speaks in that same language of endurance. Beneath its visible stars lies a foundation of dark matter, unseen, yet steadfast shaping and sustaining. It is a reminder that what matters most is often invisible gravity, love, connection, the quiet thread that holds everything in place. Perhaps this is the true nature of the galaxy, not merely a structure of light, but a memory of balance. Every orbit, every breath of star birth and death, every slow rotation is part of an exquisite equilibrium. Over billions of years, it has learned to move not with haste, but with harmony. Our place within it is temporary, yet meaningful. We are born of its dust, shaped by its energy, and destined to return to it. When our world is gone, and our species forgotten, the atoms that once formed our thoughts will still drift among the stars, still part of the same quiet rhythm. The galaxy, indifferent yet embracing, will carry us onward. It is easy to feel small when looking at the Milky Way stretched across the night sky. But in truth, that light is not something separate from us. It is our reflection scattered across distance and time. We are not beneath the stars, we are within them. The same physics that ignites their cores also burns within us. The same carbon that glows in nebulae shapes our breath and bones. The Milky Way is not above it, is inside, written into every cell, every heartbeat, every thought. Imagine the night sky far from city lights. The air cool the ground, quiet the world hushed. Above you, the galaxy arches like a bridge of frost, each point of light carrying its own history, ancient, tireless, serene. You are standing not apart from it, but within it, at the intersection of space and awareness. Some of the light you see tonight began its journey before Earth existed. Some left its star before our species appeared. It has crossed the centuries unbent by the emptiness to meet your eyes at this exact moment. That encounter between ancient light and fleeting consciousness is the essence of wonder. And wonder is perhaps the most human form of gravity. It draws us closer to what is vast. It keeps us bound to the mysteries that sustain us. Scientists once believed the stars were eternal, unchanging fires. Now we know they are born, they live, they die, and that this cycle creates everything. There is something comforting in that truth, that even the most brilliant light must one day fade. Yet, in its fading, it gives birth to new brilliance. The Milky Way's beauty lies not in permanence, but in renewal. Every generation of stars enriches the next. Every dying sun sows the seeds for new worlds. And within one of those worlds, life appeared fragile, improbable, curious. For billions of years, it learned to see, to feel, to ask questions of the night. Eventually, it learned to look back and recognize its origin, to realize that it was not separate from the galaxy, but an expression of it. That is what it means to be human, to exist for a moment between eternity and nothingness, and to find meaning in the middle. The galaxy's rhythm continues indifferent yet harmonious. Somewhere, a new star is igniting hydrogen, awakening into brilliance. Elsewhere, an old one fades, leaving behind a nebula, shaped like a petal, a wisp, a dream. Between them, planets turn silently. Comets drift and light continues its endless flight through the dark. All the while, Earth spins, one small marble caught in a beam of sunlight, a place where consciousness blooms. Here we listen, we study, we tell stories, we name constellations after heroes, lovers, and gods. We turn patterns of light into meaning, chaos into poetry. The Milky Way does not need those names, but we do, because naming is how we love what we cannot hold. And perhaps that is all the universe asks of us: to bear witness, to see, to feel, to marvel, and to care. As you breathe now, the Milky Way continues its turn. The stars you see tonight move slowly across the ages, tracing their eternal paths around the galactic core. The Sun completes one orbit every 230 million years, a single revolution in a galaxy that has seen 50 of them since it began. We are travelers, passengers, on a voyage that began before we were born and will continue long after we are gone. And yet, in this moment, we are awake. We are aware. We can look up and say, "This is my home." Not just this planet or this arm of the galaxy, but this entire cosmic creation. This slow, spiraling dance of gravity and light. This quiet forever. When you next look at the Milky Way, whether from a mountain peak, a desert plain, or through the narrow frame of a window, let it remind you that peace is not absence, but balance. The same stillness that holds the stars can live within you. The same light that crosses galaxies can pass through your thoughts. You are, in every way, part of this grand breathing system, this harmony that began at the dawn of time and will continue long after time has forgotten its own name. The Milky Way turns. The stars are born, shine, and rest. The universe expands, sighing softly through space. And you, small as you may seem, are part of its song. So rest now. Let the thought of motion and eternity fade into calm. Let your breath match the rhythm of the galaxy, slow, even endless. You are safe here, in the heart of forever. And as the light of the Milky Way flows quietly across the night, may your dreams drift gently among the stars.